So yeah, I think the pink droid dies here, and I calculate up, which I was fine with. I think he was pretty close to death anyway.
Yeah, that was kind of my, just kind of accept it. It's like, oh, I'll get to shoot something, maybe
Yep.
get to kill it, and then I don't. What Soontir takes 2 shots here? It looks like.
Yeah, he only ends up taking 1 damage, or I don't think he takes any damage this
Doesn't.
turn.
Yeah, he
Because
doesn't take.
I didn't half point him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lost 2 droids here on this turn, which I didn't love. And at this point, I was like, okay, now I think yellow's gonna clear out, which is what you did because I think that was a correct decision.
Yeah, at this point,
Now
I
let's
was
see if I
finally
can
at,
half
like,
point Soontir.
at this point, I was finally like, okay, we have a lot of the time in the game left, and I've killed a good number of ships. I can regroup.
Yep, exactly. I really thought you were going to do a 1 bank with the shuttle here and then do a 2 hard that next turn, but you delayed just a little more, which I think was the right choice too.
Yeah, I needed that shuttle to live as long as possible, and like just looking at the board state right here, it's like, yeah, you basically 3 bank with one of those guys, hard one with the other, and you're looking right at the shuttle. I can't just go into that easily. I gotta lean on my reinforce.
Yep. Exactly. And like at this point, so Soontir is 1 damage away from half. And so I'm like, if I can just sneak 1 damage in, that's a significant amount of points. I mean, that's a droid and a half right there, ish, points wise. And then if I can get half on the shuttle, I mean, the shuttle's my easiest points, I think, in the game, just because of the lowered agility. So I know you were saving him from coming in, and I'm saving him as like the tasty morsel at the end of the game.
Well, and also, compared to all the other things in Zach's list, Jendon is actually the most expensive, but just with its flight path, if you had chased it down, that's when the Inquisitor and then Soontir would start eating you up from behind.
Oh, yeah. Yep, exactly. And to be fair, I need more guns on target to kill the higher agility ships with all those mods, too. Yeah, the shuttle's easier to kill, but endgame, I'm not going to be able to have enough guns to kill Soontir or the Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
So here at this point in the game, you see I'm explaining to people how those grappling struts work. I know that we honestly have picked up quite a few players during quarantine, so there's a lot of people who don't know how these things work.
So ironically, I have struts on all of my ships, right? That's the first time I used them. And again, it speaks to just like you don't need them. I didn't bring them to Worlds. They're nice to have, but I don't think you need them to be effective.
They are so strong, it feels like. But
they are, for sure.
Well, there's the even though, Paul, you didn't maybe actively use it, you did have the passive benefit of the fact that the opponent still has to think about the possibilities that you could.
Very true. Yep, very true. I like blocking up lanes more than I do just jumping onto rocks. Typically when flying an Initiative 1 list. Now, they came in clutch against the Focho. I played the Focho 3 times at LVO. And 2 of the times my opponent was moving first. And it was like, well, I can just jump on asteroids there, and they can't be on them, and they can't block me. So that would have been an issue, to be fair.
Yeah, my only gripe with them is the whole fact that they let you barrel roll off rocks.
Yep.
I just think that's silly, and I can't imagine that was on purpose.
Don't get me wrong, they're super strong. They are. I just think that they're more of a, like, this is just an added bonus as opposed to a game strategy, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it makes total sense. Like, you still should be trying to, play the game.
Yep.
Like, trying to avoid things. Just, oh hey, I can still just go wherever I want if I need it.
So game state wise, I was super excited that Soontir was not on my flank, and that this was a round where I wasn't getting shot at all. That was a huge deal, and I think I ended up doing 1 shield damage to yellow.
Yeah, we
over
just
the
saw
course
that.
of all the shots.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember if I did 1 to the shuttle or not. I don't think so, but I was happy with that because, okay, great. I'm whittling down, and if I can do 1 point of damage, it doesn't take much for those Inquisitors. I mean, that's a quarter of their health right there. That's a
Yeah.
that's a good trade.
Yeah, for me it was what are the acceptable losses right now because I need
Oh, yeah.
2 or 3 turns to get back into it.
Yep. Well, and having to stress that Yellow Inquisitor, I knew he wasn't going to flip around this turn. The shuttle has that gas cloud in the way, so I know he's not going to be an issue. And Soontir likes doing 2 hards, so let's try. I think this is the second time that I actually have meaningful shots into Soontir. There's one more round where I have like 3 unmodded shots into Soontir, and I don't do
And
anything
I
there.
feel like I've got a gas cloud and it's just
Yeah. So this next turn is the one that mattered, and this is my second big mistake in the game, where I do a 1 hard with Seer here, barrel over, and I don't link it to a focus, and I end up rolling hit focus, and Soontir rolls I think 2 blanks and an evade. So that would have been the half points I would have needed. Ugh. But yeah, it was trying to keep the dial open for Seer for the next round.
oh yeah. Yeah, like I was super relieved you didn't do it, but it made total sense because like I really like the Belbeleb as a ship, but the lack of blues on it just kind of hurt it pretty bad.
Yep. Well, and I knew that I was going to have to turn back in because the following round, Soontir was just going to 4 straight gone. And I needed the flexibility to be able to boost or do 1 hard or chase, depending on what it looked like. And I think even Travis commented on this and said, yeah, Paul traded the offensive output for the flexibility of the next turn. But when you have that many shots on Soontir, choose violence. Is what I learned from this game. Like, I did it twice.
All right. So
I think this is when you start to turn the shuttle in too. This is like
Yeah.
when the shuttle starts to flank, as I like to call it, which is hilarious. But
Yeah, I think I do like a 2 bank and then a 2 hard the next turn, just to
Yeah.
kind of start to weave things around.
Yep.
But so the funny thing is, I was already planning like, I don't expect that my list is going to be exactly playable pretty soon, just for the amount of Inquisitors and stuff.
same.
But I was looking for some substitutes, and Merrick Steele is a lot cheaper, and
Yeah.
he also can just take Debris Gambit, and now he has
Nice.
more health than Soontir.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got shields. Yeah, that's super fun. Can he have afterburners on there too?
Yes, he could actually.
And he'd still be
maybe.
cheaper than Soontir.
I didn't. Yeah, I think he still ends up cheaper than Soontir, but I don't know if I was putting afterburners on there.
now
It's been so
yeah.
long since I looked at that idea.
we're about halfway through the match. I want to remind everybody watching right now the Campaign Against Cancer Telethon that you can donate and try to help us meet our goal by typing !donate. Look at those details and help us raise a ton of money here from the X-Wing community to fight against cancer.
So yeah, there's the roll where I wrote hit focus. And if I had focus, there's 3. I had 2 blanks there. So yeah, if you'd spent the evade, that would have been half points on Soontir right there.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oh well. It happens. And yeah, I mean these are decent shots, but just it's not enough. I need all the mods I can get. You have mods. I need mods.
Come on,
I
share
don't wanna
your mods.
share. You can't take my purple away from me.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the list that I'm flying here survives the next points change. I'm hoping, like I said, that if droids go up a point and that's all it changes, I'm still okay because then I just take off grappling struts.
There you go. You still get to live.
But even then, I think if TA should go up, to be honest, like there's no reason it should be less points than Kraken. In my mind.
Is he 6 right now, or is he?
He's
still
9.
10?
TA 175 is 9 as of right now, and Kraken I think is 10. But so that's what I'm afraid of, and so I'll have to get creative. So I don't know if this archetype will survive.
Yeah, I think I'd love to see them do something with the weird one, the 5-point one, where it's just like, hey, you can take a strain, or do all sorts
I
of
think it's
crazy things.
K2B4.
That
sounds right.
To
But
roll
yeah,
an
that's
extra
something I've been
agility.
looking at. It's it's one of those that like it's
You
an
keep
ability
your
that
guys
costs
alive.
you calculates, right? And Seer
Yeah.
is an ability that costs you calculates. And so the more things that are costing you calculates, the less value you're getting from them. Whereas like what makes this crazy powerful is TA 175 is giving you calculates and Seer is taking them away, right? So you kind of have that give and take between the two. Yeah, and this is the round where I was like, all right, I know Soontir is going to bail out here doing the 4 straight, or at least that's what I do. I considered just YOLOing the gray droid over the gas cloud, trying to block the 4 straight. But I was like, yeah, but he's still going to get the focus mod. So we'll just hang back a little bit. And again, I knew that I only needed to get 1 damage through to half point him. I figured I wasn't going to kill him, but if I could just get 1 more, that was points in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, it would put you ahead. At this point, you're at 60 to 41.
And this turn is why I didn't take the focus, because so I could do the 1 hard, and then I ended up taking a target lock on Soontir at this time, just to threaten a double modded shot. Yeah, I don't think Seer ever got another shot on Soontir the rest of the game, so that target lock was inconsequential.
I think you get one here. It's just like for me at this point, like I saw the light at the end of the tunnel for Soontir. It's
Right.
kind of like, hey, it's like I'm gonna take some shots here. I know I'm gonna take a bad one or two, but I can get that gas cloud and I can dodge some of the other ones.
Yep. And then from there you just run, because I figured you knew you were up on points at this point in the game. I knew I was behind and was like, okay, what's my next win condition? And it was all right. I at this point in the game, I thought I was gonna lose, to be honest.
Yeah, I was still scared. Like I thought I was pretty sure I was still up on points, but I thought we had way more time left in the game than we actually did.
I did too. I remember thinking right now, being like, okay, now we're about halfway done.
You guys
And
played really fast. That's the other thing. You guys played at a good pace the entire time, and it when that happens, the time just slips away.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are getting in
And I
more
think
average
you
rounds.
get in the mindset of like, oh, we have 2 hours, which is like a really long time. And then I wasn't monitoring the clock at all at
neither.
this point. It was just, okay, yeah, we still have a lot of time. Whereas in an hour and 15 game, I am actively monitoring the clock, like every round, to see how much time we have left. So that's something else I learned if I ever end up at a finals table again, is watch the clock even with 2 hours, because it goes by quick.
Because the turn where I make my mistake, my big mistake. I thought we still had about 20 minutes left.
Well, okay, so that round, I make a big mistake too that ended up costing me, because I just had a round where I forgot how struts work. So that was fun. I was bemoaning that fact to buddies afterwards. Because we'll talk about it, but if I had dialed in a 2 straight barrel roll, now all of a sudden I have an obstruction from your Inquisitor shot, which that extra evade dice can matter in a big way. And here, the other crazy thing is that, we ended up, spoilers, in Final Salvo, but there were 2 shots that I have on the Inquisitor at the very, very end, and he could have easily died, because I think you were out of mods at that point from the offensive shots. And if he dies, then all of a sudden I'm up. And I remember thinking, like, sweet, I need to kill him, and if I do, I win. If I don't, I lose. I didn't actually realize we were tied at that point.
Yeah, in my mindset was I need to kill more I need to kill more droids, because it's going to come down to Soontir and the Inquisitor chasing down 2 droids plus Seer.
Yep.
Like, I need to push more damage, so I need to do this. I need to coordinate more stuff to get more shots to just keep moving.
I was pleasantly surprised that Seer had not been a target to this point. Like, I felt pretty good with my ability to protect him, to present other targets, because he is my points fortress. As crazy it is that a swarm can have a points fortress, but that was at least a benefit. And similar to how you use the shuttle as a battering ram in the end game, Seer is the battering ram in the end game, because he's got 3 dice as a gun.
So, Paul, one of the things I really like the way you fly these Vulture Swarms is you're willing to split them up, which is something, I've gotten to see a lot of people play, and similar to the other Paul Heaver, both of you guys just willing to take the swarm and break it from your initial block, and create even more flexibility while being outside of a traditional, square, column, row formation.
Well, thank you for saying that. I'll say to Paul's credit as well. I think one of the big things is, yes, being able to split them up, but also knowing then when to dive back together as a group, right?
Mhm.
And if you can keep that flexibility of maybe splitting them up, but still threatening that group again, that's the key. So you don't want to overextend splitting them up, if that makes sense. Like
Oh,
you
yeah.
just at least have the threat of being able to come back together. And that's, I think, the biggest challenge when flying that many bodies is visualizing all those possibilities. Because like you have to adapt, almost foreseeing where your opponent's going to go as far as their options, right? Like
Right.
you have to think like 3 steps ahead. Okay, well, he could go here, here, and here for his aces, and so you have to think about, okay, my next turn based on those options. So you're almost thinking of like 4 options yourself past that next turn, which can be a challenge for sure, but it gets easier. I was happy the shuttle got stressed here.
Takes away that 3-bank next turn.
Yeah.
And the focus mod for offense, specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point I was like, okay, Soontir's probably gone. I'm not getting any more shots at him. My win condition is killing the shuttle and killing the Inquisitor, which is why I turned Seer in towards the shuttle there. I mean, the gas cloud is there too, but it's like, all right, he's finally presenting the shuttle. Now we can shoot at it.
I mean, the Emperor's got to do something eventually, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there you can see me taking a target lock on Soontir. Like, okay. I thought I was taking a lock there for a second.
I think you did.
I was just like,
You took a lock on
like,
one of those
yeah, I
droids.
got-
Or no, you
yeah.
evaded. I don't know.
No, the
My
lock is
brain's
from
just like,
earlier.
yeah,
You're
I
just
got
moving it
plenty of
around.
Gotcha. Yep.
But yeah, that's the thing. If you're playing aces against swarms, that if they're sticking in a block, your life gets so much easier. Like
Mhm.
you can kind of have an idea of where they're going to be, and that is exactly what aces want. If you take the guessing away, then my job is a little bit easier. I'm less reliant on dice, and I can just kind of go where I need to go.
Yep. And this was my regrouping round. I think I at least lose one droid here on this round. But yeah, there was just the turn before, I really took a lot of time thinking through moves. And I was actually really hoping that the barrel roll is going to fit. I went over to the other side of the table last round and like looked at that for like a good 1 to 2 minutes, just directly over the top. And I was like, yeah, this barrel roll isn't going to fit. But I thought it was going to when I dialed in the maneuver, so that I wouldn't bump with red there to be able to give another calculate, and also give gray that I didn't end up barrel rolling with a shot onto the Yellow Inquisitor. But I needed the mod because, well, if the barrel roll doesn't fit, now I'm going to have to I'll have no mods for defense. Felt good about that shot. Getting in a couple more damage in the shuttle.
Just a couple more away from half at that point. Yeah, so
Yep.
I remember at this point in the game, the chat was convinced that you had no chance, Paul. It was very interesting, and I'm sure you said you've watched it a few times. You heard me going through the math. I'm like, guys, there's still a chance, but Zach's got a talking about Zach's win condition as well. Just stay alive or pop a droid and get out of there. One of my favorite things about this game is that both of you played all the way to the end. If that makes any sense, you guys were really in it the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, too much in it because we didn't see time. Yeah, I mean, to be fair to chat, I thought the probability of me coming back was dwindling, and that kind of happens with efficiency lists. If you're able to snowball a little bit, it is difficult for them to get back into the fight without some dice variance. So you got to use the bodies that you've got to try to stop mods, to get those blocks off, and then know your win conditions. So I was like, well, Soontir's gone. I'm not going to catch him at this point. I did know that, but I figured if I could, again, kill that Inquisitor and kill the shuttle, then I was back into it. But I thought I had time to spare. I wasn't even paying attention to the clock.
It's good to know it wasn't just me. We
were also having a great time, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, we were chit-chatting. It was great. Like, it may feel like the stakes are super high, This goes away after a bit. I've seen this enough. It may feel like the stakes were high, but and I mean, to be fair, they kind of were. But yeah, it was just we were having fun. That's how actually game should be.
I think we both took a moment to like shout at random passersby too.
For sure we did. It was great. So I don't know if you remember this, but at the same time that this was going on, the finals for Ryan's like side event was happening.
Yeah, I remember that.
There were more people watching that than our game. I remember being annoyed by that. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm finally at a finals table. Nobody cares.
No, well, technically, you had almost 1,000 people watching this game live.
That's fair. That's
so
very
more
fair.
people were watching yours.
So I actually so my girlfriend came with me to Vegas, and she told me that because she didn't have a badge to come in, so she and a couple of my friends were just kind of like, well, she was like sitting by the pool apparently watching the game, and one of my friends was apparently just spamming chat to enough to be annoying to Dion, I guess.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah, sorry about the flickering. Anybody who's watching, we were having some camera issues, of course, at the worst time, like right in the biggest moments here.
Oh, so that 4 straight again. There was another move that just barely made it. I was like, oh man, just a game of millimeters for sure. And yeah, as expected, Soontir's like, nope, I'm out.
Thank you, sir.
And this speaks to the value of that Palp shuttle being able to keep Soontir alive for so much longer because you can just take that evade knowing you got that soft focus backup. Yeah, it's really good.
So
I can't remember if you had a shot here or not.
I don't either. I want to say no, just because I feel like I would have done more damage.
Yeah, I think it was just the shuttle.
So I played a list very similar to mine in Swiss, that instead of having Palpatine, they had on
Krennic?
Krennic, yes, which is basically like the exact same list as mine, except Krennic, and I want to say a shield upgrade, which I was actually running that version of this maybe 2 weeks before LVO, and then just kind of playing with it more and more. It's like, okay, Krennic maybe procs twice against all the Jedi, and then it's like, but the Emperor is forever.
Yeah. Yep. And
So
it
I
makes
just
the
never
shuttle
got-
such a better support piece too, because you're able to just kind of run along the board edge, and even though you weren't getting shots, Palpatine was used, I think, every single round. Whereas if it was a Krennic shuttle, you may still have wanted to run, but then there's no support there. So, yep. Yeah, I think that was the one chance that I was like, okay, this was the one time I had a double modded shot against Soontir from Seer, because I had the target lock focus, but it just, I mean, I think it was range 3 obstructed, you have an evade, it was unlikely. Yeah, finally getting some damage into the shuttle here.
You're one away from half at that point.
Yep, and then I know you didn't reinforce with the shuttle the turn that it dies, but there was a crit that went through, and we never looked at that card. It's always bothered me to know if, well, what's that? I can't remember. There was like one crit that went through, and if it had been a direct hit, then yeah, it would have killed it anyway. Yeah, we didn't look at it because the last card that you drew was the crit instead, and if you had reinforced, it would have been the card before. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. I never thought about that.
I didn't either until after the fact. And some friends were saying, like, somebody was saying, well, if you'd reinforced, then the shuttle doesn't die there, and Zach just wins outright. But then somebody was like, well, if you got a direct hit on that last crit, I was like, oh, interesting. But who knows, man? What would have been?
Many timelines can be a part of a game. Go ahead, Zach. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I told you, like, right as we were starting the game, that, like, I came to LVO, like, literally the only prize I wanted was the Empire damage deck.
Yeah. The only prize I wanted was the Separatist damage deck, and I did not get one. Because I wasn't the top 2 in my day. I was the second day of qualifiers. Day 1A had like 5 Separatist players, and day 2A had 16 plus, and I was third. And I missed it by 10 MLV. I remember that very distinctly, which, I mean, is fine. But yeah, I was still on cloud 9 to be that far in this game. This is, I think, my first final in a major tournament, so I was just having a blast. It was great.
Yeah, it was me too. I've made a final at a regional, and I made a final at a community event.
Yep.
But I was just so excited, and I was so tired.
We both were, dude. Oh my word. Ugh. Well, you're in Vegas anyway. I don't know about you, but we stayed out way too late the night before.
Every
I think you said
every
you were
day.
up to like 2 or something.
Every day we're out too late.
It
Exactly.
was up till 2 because like the crates introduced me to the Marvel Champions game, and then
Right.
it's fun. I bought all of it. It's a great game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Yeah,
was
so-
like,
Sorry, go ahead.
so start of the day, like when I was looking at things, I was like, okay, if I get through my top 64 opponent, I feel really good about this. Because I was kind of looking at the other things in the cut. And it was just the process of going through all that, and then like, oh, I'm gonna miss my flight.
Did you fly out that night too?
No, next morning.
Oh, okay.
Ended up taking a day off work.
Hey,
My
boss,
was
I'm
actually
sorry.
excited for me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I flew out that night. We took a
wow.
red eye out, and it was awful. But it's okay. It was the game was definitely worth it. It was so much fun. So at this point, I was like, "There's no way I'm coming back in this game." Like when you had half pointed with a structural damage on, I think it was yellow. No, yellow's
Red.
dead. It must have been the red one. Yeah, red. And yeah, it was just like, oh man, probably out of it because Soontir's gone now. I think at this point I started to realize, oh, we're running out of time. Because I think it was at that point that, I think it was at the 10-minute mark, Dallas, who was judging this game, was like, okay, 10 minutes left. I was like, what? Oh, okay.
I may not have heard that. That's the crazy thing. Like my idea was like, oh, I got time to like putz around and just maybe shoot and kill a couple more guys, and it'll go great. But yeah.
So this barrel here, after the rotate, was to try and dissuade Soontir from turning back into the fight. I didn't have a lot of good places to go with that droid, and I figured then I could turn in to shoot at the shuttle the next round for kind of the last shot. And I also needed to get out of the way of the structural damage droid because he's about to land on that debris cloud. Ironically, I forgot that his struts were open the next turn. It's fine. Yeah, because I end up, if I had 2 straighted once he's on the debris cloud and then barreled over, then he's got that for cover. But instead, I dialed in a 3 hard, thinking that that's what I'd end up. So yeah, that was not intentional. So that was mistake 3. 3 strikes, I was out.
Not quite out.
Yeah.
Yeah, not quite.
Now here's a quick question for you, Zach. You talked about the difference between Krennic and Palpatine a little earlier today. So would you say if we plopped you back in that situation, you had Krennic, do you think you would have gotten as far as you did?
No. Not even close. I played a whole bunch of stuff with no shields, and there was one game I played against your top 4 opponent. So because I had the chance to watch your guys' game, I played against him in Swiss, and Soontir just melted like in the first round of shooting for no reason, and then just because I had Palpatine, my Inquisitors just soloed his list. Like it was just the 2 Inquisitors and
There's so
Palpatine
much
just
support
running
there.
around.
Yeah.
He just couldn't do any damage. They base the Inquisitors with Palpatine. You basically have 2 force on them, and they both fully regenerate.
Yep.
It's a little bit absurd.
So right here, I did not see that coordinate coming because I'm pretty sure you arc dodge seer there by doing so. And I was like, sweet, I'm going to have another shot at that Yellow Inquisitor. And then you coordinated. I was like, dang it, he did that earlier, and I forgot about it again. Oh, well.
I think at this point I was just kind of like desperately shooting at the one agility ship, trying to just
Yep.
take it off.
Yep. Which totally made sense. I think he actually, well, he definitely survives the shot because this is the next turn that I messed up. Because then it was, all right, I need to get guns on the shuttle.
What did
I think you
Right.
shot at the one agility with just a primary because you were
Yeah,
out
I was
of
out of
concussions at that time.
concussions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spent it and yeah, I nattied out, which was lucky. And then yeah, the next
Seer does
turn.
nothing. Yeah.
Yep, Seer. Well, I don't think Seer had a shot.
Back shot.
Oh, sorry, your shuttle had a back shot, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Seer did not have a shot at
Oh.
the Yellow Inquisitor there. I think I only had one shot with the gray droid onto Soontir, which wasn't gonna do anything.
Yeah.
Not with an evade pout backup. Yeah. I don't even bother spending the token because that evade will just cancel it out.
And look, I believe it's
Yeah.
this upcoming turn. I think we have 1 or 2 more turns left at this point.
This is the last turn.
This is the last
This is the
turn.
last turn. And this
No,
is
we
where I
definitely
forget.
have like 4 more.
This is yeah, exactly. I think at this point I was like, okay, we might have 2 more turns. I didn't realize we went through like 5 minutes in that last round.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I dial in a 3 hard with this red droid, for whatever reason, instead of just a 2 straight barrel. And so then he had to rotate and then barrel off, and then I didn't get the obstruction. But that's all right. Another thing that I didn't talk about yet, but is something I do typically when I'm playing the droid swarm, is I'll put my dials not only like I'll flip them over when somebody's shooting, but I will also like put them in order that I want them to move. Right? So like I'll put them in a line and I'll just go down the line of movement so that I don't have to think on the fly, okay, wait, who did I want to move first? So that I don't end up self-bumping.
Yeah, I was super appreciative of that, especially the flipping over when shooting, because I have so much trouble following it a lot of times.
I hate to tell you, it's also for my sake, not just yours.
Yeah, I mean, just with the increased number of ships, you have the increased number and possibility of mistakes, and it's not. They're easy to make. We're humans, very easy to make.
Yep. But yeah, I was fully expecting to do a 3 hard, which would have just cleared over this purple, calculating, and then all of a sudden I flip over his down like, no, he's on a debris cloud. I'm such a fool. Anyway, so then we did the barrel as best as we could, but it wasn't gonna be enough.
Mhm.
And then, again, you do. So I understand you did the coordinate here instead of the reinforce, and you potentially just win. But then that was allowing you to get the 100 points, because if I was able to half the Inquisitor, and my droid doesn't die, you lose. Like
Yeah.
you're technically up on points here, but you're 1 damage away from losing.
Mm-hmm. So I think part of like, I'm looking back at it, I'm trying to think why I didn't do a 3 straight with the Inquisitor here
Right.
to begin with. I'm not sure, to be honest. Like, it's kind of an odd thing.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, I think both of our brains were just fried after
Yeah.
being up so late. I don't know, but I mean, it clearly worked out. You're able to kill that droid, and then I actually, when you kill that droid, I was like, well, it's unlikely that I'm going to get 3 natty paints and
And then
kill.
you do.
Yeah, and then I do, and I was like, oh, okay. But at that point, I still was like, well, I know it's close, but I don't know if I have it or not. And then, like, I had no clue. I at that point truly did not know who was winning. Turns out neither of us were.
And you could see
That
Paul,
moment.
You could see Paul pick up his pace too, just a little bit. Maybe he's like, "Man, can I get another turn in here if I need it?"
Yeah,
You could feel the.
I thought I was going to.
And the shuttle goes down right there with the natty paint.
And then this is the shot. If I kill the Inquisitor or half point it, so you just needed to roll 2 blanks and you didn't, and that saved it. Oh, it was such a close ending.
Yeah.
And then
Ugh.
then we yell over like, all right, what's the points? We don't know. That
Yeah.
moment I will never forget. It was so epic.
And then just the both of us, just the we did it. It was great.
We did it. I know. I think the only other like final salvo final was like the Miranda v Miranda mirror match at Gen Con or something.
Yeah.
That's boring. We actually played out a full game and did it.
Yes, this was my honestly, this game is probably in my top 5 of all of them that I've called. It was just a very, very entertaining game. Great ending with 2 awesome people. So I did actually leave in the final salvo rolls. We get to them here in a second. I believe Zach goes first.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Zach, I have lost every single final salvo roll I've ever done. And
Oh,
as soon
man.
as, and so I was like, all right, it's 5v7. But as soon as you roll 4, I was like, well, he won. Like, I just in my head, like I had no confidence. I was like, I'm just gonna blank out here, and he's gonna win it.
I've lost one that was like 12-7 before.
Ugh.
It felt so bad.
Yeah.
But
And it's 4-3 as well, right? Like,
oh yeah.
yeah. I want to be like, can I spend a calculate here? That'd be great. No.
So
Yeah, people don't let us see it. Won't let us hear the end of this one. So
well, guys,
Carson Ray specifically goes the next time I saw him, he goes, "Hey Paul, what's better, 5 or 7?" 7. He goes, "Well, it wasn't."
yeah.
Thanks, Carson.
Not that day. Well, guys, I want to say thank you so much for your insight into what happened in this game, talking about your guys' decision making. It was really great having you, and thank you for being a part of this campaign against Cancer Telethon.
yeah, thanks for having us. It was a lot of fun, and thank you for kind words saying you enjoyed watching it, and to everybody watching the CAC marathon, help out as much as you can. It's a great cause. I'm gonna try to chip in some stuff. Paul?
Yeah, likewise. Give. It's a great campaign event. Dion, thank you for the streaming of the event and for asking us on to commentate. And Zach, dude, seriously, a privilege and an honor to play against you. And I again, this was the most fun I had at LVO for sure, but I would say probably at any event too. Like, even though the stakes were high, it was so much fun. And I hope to recreate that against other opponents, but I'll gladly play anytime, man. That was fun.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
All right.
It's been fun.
Yep.
All right, we're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio.
Welcome back, everybody. That was, I don't know why I forgot to take my mask off. All right, so we've got winners for the coins, the Plo Koon, and the LED Slave 1. So the winner of the first coin is Danny Payne. The winner of the second coin is Bill Herbert. The winner of the Plo Koon is Frank Fleming. And the LED Slave 1 this round goes to Christine Crawford. Congratulations. The next set of prizes, again, coin, and Plo Koon. We have another Tantive 4 that we'll be giving away, as well as the Easy Roller Dice. So we've got another set of these that if you give $10 in the next during the next match, you will be in the drawing to win one of those 4 prizes. So our next match is also another ABC match. Dion, are you there to tell us a little bit about it?
We're about to go into Howard versus Manzano. Is that correct?
Yes, Howard versus Manzano.
Yeah, so the Howard versus Manzano game happened at Worlds, our last Worlds 2019. And this match is what we like to call the Karate Kid match. I mean, even down to the paint jobs. If you were familiar with some of the history in Worlds, in Worlds 2018, Duncan Howard came to Worlds dressed in a karate gi for Cobra Kai. All right, and he had has his shuttle painted with Cobra Kai on it. At that Worlds, Duncan actually knocked Marcel out of the top 16. So 2019, Marcel thought, it'd be funny. Let me go ahead and get my my ships painted as Miyagi-Do, right? The opposite team in the Karate Kid lore. And what are the chances that these two players would not only meet at Worlds, but meet in a game that matters? It was an absolutely amazing game, and we're going to get an opportunity to listen to Duncan, Marcel, and myself break down this game, talk about the good decisions, the bad decisions, how things could have gone one way or another, those pivot points. Absolutely wonderful. If you're into just really getting into the minds of top-level players, go ahead, stick around because this is awesome. It's really good.
Well, very much look forward to it. So let's go ahead and play it and see how it goes.
Everyone, welcome to our house for this match for the campaign against Cancer 2020. Today, it's gonna be me, Filippo, versus Anna. So we are playing First Order. For me, I'm playing Kylo, Blackout, and Major Vonreg. Both Blackout and Vonreg are equipped with Fanatical, while Anna is playing her favorite squad, 104th Battalion pilot on the ARC 170.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching the campaign against Cancer. For this match that you are watching here, it is a replay of Marcel Manzano versus Duncan Howard, and I have both the players here on the line to talk to you about their games. How's it going, Marcel?
Daniel Lorusso, a.k.a. Marcel Manzano, and Miyagi Dojo.
And in the right corner, we have Duncan Howard.
Hey, this is Duncan Howard from Cobra Kai. The other guy's a nerd.
So let's go ahead and start by having you guys break down what squads you brought. And for anybody who's wondering, this was at the World Championships that happened in October of 2019. This was, as you see in the bottom left-hand corner, this was the top 32 match. So, Marcel, what'd you bring to this matchup?
Yeah, so I brought a regen Republic list. I had Obi-Wan with Foresight, R2 Astromech. Actually, the Foresight on there is wrong. It was Obi-Wan with Sense,
Yeah,
R2 Astromech, and Delta 7. Had Rick O'Lee with Daredevil, Advanced Sensors, and R2. And then also Baby Anakin on the Naboo Starfighter with Intimidation, Collision Detector, R2, and Advanced Proton Torpedo. And leading up to this match, leading up to this, an undefeated squad at like 9-0 or something, whatever it was at the time.
Hey, no spoilers, no spoilers. All right, and Duncan?
I brought something very dumb. I brought Colonel Jendon with Jamming Beam because it's free. Director Krennic because it was really good versus Inquisitors and Jedi at the time. Redline with Proton Torpedoes. Suture fell with Crackshot, Targeting, and Hull. And a 21-point bid on top of that.
So,
Wow.
So let's ask why 21 points?
There were some people that really good players in the X-Men community that were bidding pretty deep. That was a pretty deep bidding Worlds, if I recall correct. And I could not, for the life of me, beat Sunfac builds when they outbid me. In hindsight, there were things I could have done, probably a little better to prepare for this, but I didn't have a lot of time, and I was panicking on lists last minute, and I settled on this. Probably should have just gone with Advanced Sensors Redline because I would have only gotten outbid by one player at that point. However, the one player that I beat the bid on by 1 point, he had a 20-point bid, was my winning in to the cut match. So, goes either way.
Cool. Now, at this point, Marcel, just so you guys know, anybody who's watching, by the way, all the planning phases are cut out, so we're just going to be going from turn to turn, back to back here. Can you give us a little bit of commentary on why you set up the way you did, and maybe a little bit about your approach?
Sure. So I set up the way I did because that's the way I always set up. Basically, no matter what list I'm flying, even if it's a formation list, I always set up across the entire board and react to how the other player plays. So that's just my regular setup. The only thing that I might change is which ship is closer to the engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And typically with this list, I have Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan is the one that has sense, and it's the one that can really put a little bit of fear into Sunterfell. So I mean that's really why I set up the way I set up, and the idea here is just to use Anakin as bait, have Obi-Wan in the back to hopefully take some pot shots in the first couple engagements, and then Rick to come from the back, since Rick is the most predictable out of all of these.
For anybody who's watching there, just in case you might not be aware, right there, Duncan uses Colonel Jenden's ability in order to allow Redline to take locks outside of range 3, and plus his ability allows him to get an extra lock after locking. So that's why that happened. And Duncan, let's talk a little bit about your approach and setup.
I did a very similar approach every game. Redline is basically, I mean, kind of like passive sensors. He can threaten multiple targets at once. You take a target lock on one of the highest initiative things on the board, and if that thing ever ends up in arc, you can typically have a double modded proton torpedo on it, and then you target lock your the target you actually want. So here, I target locked Anakin, a target that seemed pretty juicy at the time, and Obi was my priority target because I needed to get that sense off the board, because I don't want him looking at my dial and being able to block me with advanced sensors Rick, and Anakin with basically advanced sensors.
All right. So, Duncan, when you're looking at Marcel's list, what is the thing that maybe what's your priority target? What do you want to get off the board first?
Definitely sense Obi-Wan. I don't like when people can see my dial. It takes away the price I paid to be I6 for the price of 5 points. So I definitely had to get him off the board, and he's running Delta 7, so I think I could have, and I have Director Krennic, so I could have gotten, I think I have a pretty good chance against that target. I forget if it works out in my favor against Obi-Wan.
We'll find out soon. Marcel, what about you? What was your priority target?
I actually was more of an opportunity target. It's whatever he feeds me. I am just at this point just trying to bait with Anakin, and really it was just more than anything what I was trying to do is I was just trying to close the range without taking too much damage. If I can get into range 1 and avoid those torpedoes from Redline, I'm in pretty good shape, because at that point this list was a knife fighting list. Obi-Wan with his hard turns and double reposition, Anakin with his ability to basically be anywhere he wants to be, with double barrel rolls or barrel roll boost, and the collision detector. So more than anything, it's just getting in close, and whatever targets are available, go after those targets. Hopefully not split my fire too much, get one of the guns out of there. And I kind of knew that he wasn't going to feed me Sunterfell early, so that's why at this point I went after Redline, just expecting him to be a little bit defensive with Sunterfell.
So
You're
here,
not wrong.
So here you go ahead, you slam on the gas there, 5 straight with Rick, trying to get some shots early on the shuttle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the shuttle is not a target I mind people going for early. It's kind of just there. It sucks when you trade 50 points for nothing, which I think ends up happening here. He just gets obliterated later on. Spoilers.
Yeah, so right here I went pretty slow with Obi-Wan, and again my idea was hopefully Redline was gonna do something slow to not be able to shoot at Obi, and also not knowing where Sunterfell was gonna be, since he was out of range for a sense at the time. And yeah, I think right here ideally I would have done something faster, like a three soft in and then boost in, and just trade a little bit more aggressively. But again, it's just trying to get the ranges to see if I can do that. Be outside of range 3 for that first shot.
Yeah, I mean, you really don't want to take a proton torpedo. Seems bad.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler alert: he takes a proton torpedo.
Yeah, and that the bank maneuvers.
The first one bank of destiny.
Yeah, that was
Spoilers for the future.
yeah. So that was. It's a game of millimeters, and this entire game was like that. This entire game, you'll see it, later on. It's super close. Like right here, where that boost made it over, and again in retrospective, I just stuck there without doing the boost, and just stuck there and did a target lock instead of the boost. I would have made him do something different because he would have taken a 5-dice shot, and probably not have boosted into that 5-dice shot. So he may have just stuck there and took the bait and shot at Anakin instead of going after Obi. But
Yeah.
those are the and then also if he would have done a faster maneuver or 2 or something like that, he would have bumped. So it's you just gotta guess at this point.
Now, was this the first time you guys had played against each other?
No.
Played a ton, Marcel, right? Like we.
No, I think we officially we really only played twice. We played this one, and then we played the top. Was it top 16 or top 8? One of those tops.
Top 16 of Worlds, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember it was the battle for the templates.
Yeah, and that was the one where my 3 torpedoes against your census against your Lambda shuttle with the sensor jammer did a total of 2 shields out of 3 double modded torpedoes. Yeah, that was a sad day. But you got your revenge for your brother, because I think I had beaten your brother earlier to knock him out from.
That's not
cut,
that
so.
hard. He's like a mini boss. It's like a tutorial boss.
Yeah, so right here you knocked off. Actually, that right there, Krennic did what Krennic did. So Krennic knocked off a shield out of Obi from that first shot. And again, if I had gone a little faster, I would have been, that boosting into there would have been putting you at range 1 of Obi, so it would have gave you bad choices. And it's, it would have gave you either you take a torpedo shot at Obi, but you eat one from a proton from Anakin, or you take a range 1 from Obi.
Well, here comes a proton torpedo in from Redline into Obi-Wan.
And didn't get the crit into the hull, but can't expect that.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
No,
right? 'Cause
not...
I got the 2.
Yeah, because Krennic knocked off a shield because I think I rolled poorly on Soontir, and I just took the shields off. But half of 77 isn't bad on the first turn of engage.
No,
so I felt pretty good here about my chances, especially just because he only has shots at the shuttle and Redline. Redline's not a.
I think I just not.
He's only 65 points. Oh my god. Either way, like the point of this list is to create a favorable end state for Soontir. Like you leave a bunch of damaged ships or like no ships, and then you have a 21 point bid and Soontir, who is 64, so he's basically worth 85 points. And then you can run away, or you can just win the game right there.
So, can you explain to us, Duncan, how does Krennic work? Because I know that's not an upgrade card that we see too often, and I know it does still cause people some confusion on how that works.
Let me open up another tab and look up Director Krennic X-Wing, because I forget how it works. All right, optimized prototype, something about optimized prototype. Nope, that's 1.0. Ooh, Lord, that was such a good card. Optimized prototype. All right, either way, pass on that. Go to Marcel. I'll look it up.
No worries here. So,
yeah, so at this point, Anakin just put a target lock on what is that? Colonel Jendon, just preparing for a future turn, because at this point, it was going to take Anakin a long time to get back around to have a good, decent shot at one of the other 2 ships and being at range. Right here, I think at this point I just simply had a brain fart and forgot to regen. No, actually, I did regen. So at this point, I should have had a weapons disabled. I know at one point I did forget to regen. But anyway, yeah, I was just getting ready to throw that torpedo at Jendon because I kind of knew that getting it off on one of the other two ships was going to be too hard or too many rounds to get to it.
So here,
All right, I looked up Krennic.
go for it.
All right, Director Krennic assigns the optimized prototype to another ship. While you perform a primary weapon attack from your front arc against a ship locked by a friendly ship with Director Krennic. So, Colonel Jendon, the ship with Director Krennic, has to have the defender target locked. You may spend 1 hit, crit, or focus result. If you do that, you choose one. The defender loses a shield or flips up one of its face-down damage cards. All right. So, 1, Colonel Jendon's really good because he can now take a target lock. It adds the target lock to your action bar. 2, it allows Soontir and Redline to not waste any turns. You can get target locks from beyond range 3. And so you basically set up and you kind of telegraph your target, but it's kind of nice to just take shields off high agility ships for free. If you roll straight junk, then like a blank focus, you can still take a shield off your opponent range 3 through a gas cloud.
Yeah, and just the value of also the situation where it's like I want to be offensive, but I should probably be defensive. It's potentially free damage, or at least guaranteed. So that last turn, Marcel, you had gotten blocked by the shuttle after doing the 3 bank, but now you've kind of set yourself up with an opportunity.
Yeah, that last round was no shots on anybody. I could have gone a little bit slower with Rick, but just had to be careful not to be put myself in a spot where either Redline probably didn't have much shot, but that Jendon was going to go slow or stop and take a free shot at Rick. So that was kind of the best thing I can do. And if I would have advanced sensors to get a shot, it would have been a bad shot, and he would have had a shot back because I probably would have ended up in his tail arc.
Mm-hmm.
And right here again, not wanting to get torpedoed by Redline, I just decided to disengage here and just come around.
Now, Anakin is sitting in that range 1 back arc of the Lambda shuttle. Soontir hasn't moved yet. It seems Anakin seems like in a little bit of a rough spot. I remember what happens here, but it does seem like a little bit of a possible sticky situation. You have the possibility of both Redline and Soontir bearing down on Anakin.
Yeah, it is. But honestly, in this list, that's kind of what Anakin is there for. He wants to eat up some shots, give Obi-Wan a chance to regenerate right here, and basically do as much damage as he can on his way out. And he still had shields, he had an evade, he had the force, so he can most likely take in a torpedo from Redline if everything goes well for Duncan. I'm probably only taking 2 shields and a crit. Which is fine. I mean, if I can get the shuttle off the board, it's a decent trade.
It's a bonus. So at this point, Duncan, you start to cycle Redline back around. Do you remember at this Worlds how often you had the opportunity to reload those proton torpedoes? You ever get it off more than twice?
Well, again, it plays into the list's ability, right? Like, so depending on who you go for, like if you go for Soontir, which I think is proper, because he's the piece I want to have in the end game versus a favorable end state. You just leave Redline to his own devices, and then he can reload. I did it probably about half my games. You just reload, come back, fire another torpedo. I think there was one game where I reloaded 3 times. It was like versus 2 Jedi and Rick. I think I just kept reloading because he just didn't want him. He wanted Soontir in the shuttle, or he wanted Soontir, gave up on Soontir, went for the shuttle. Yeah, so Redline just kept torpedo after torpedo after torpedo. 100% worth it. And sometimes you don't even need to reload. Like a range 1, if you're range 1, you have a focus and a target lock, that's still a double modded 3-die shot. It's not to be scoffed at.
Very cool, very cool. Now, Marcel, your list in our current points is no longer legal. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I actually flew it today against Johnny in the league final.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get it to work, I had to take a sense out of Obi, and that puts it at 200 without sense. So it's a 205 point list as you see it up right now there. So if you take the Daredevil out, it's 198. So you have to trim it. And again, sense is really what'll threaten the Fen Rouse, the Sunterfells, Vaders, and at that point, like the way I've been tweaking it is just getting rid of Rick Oli and using Plo Koon with the Jammer with the C10.
Okay.
But again,
Yeah, chopper.
it struggles.
What changed in points, Marcel? Was it the R2s? Is
The
that what it
R2s.
was? I
Yeah,
feel
the
like
R2s.
I haven't looked at points in a while.
Yeah, the R2s went up 3 points, so I have 3 of them on there, so it's 9 points more. So I went from 196 to 205.
Oof, that is a steep jump for a list. That's another benefit to building lists with such a deep bid, is because when points upgrades comes around, you have a lot of room.
Yeah, so right here you shot a
However, if
torpedo.
FFG
You got the 4, and then like I thought, just
four-
eat 2
4v2,
shields. And so 2 shields on a torpedo against Anakin with a focus and with a force and evade is expected, and that's a pretty decent trade.
Yeah, that's true. Like I was saying, however, if you take a list to top 16 with a 21 point bid, FFG might increase it by 22 points, which is not fun.
Is that what happened with this one?
I don't think Jendon went up a couple points, right? I don't think anything else changed.
I'm going to go ahead and take a look here. I'm building it on my side so that we can, because there might be somebody out there going like, oh, this is a cool list. Can I still fly it? And
No, you can 100% still fly it. The bid might just be smaller. I feel like it's like 186 or something. I still want advanced sensors in there.
it's 181.
So what? Oh, yeah, Jendon went up 2 points.
Yep, 181. And if you go ahead and put that advanced sensors on there, you end up at 191.
191. Yeah, they never increased advanced sensors, as they probably should increase it.
Yeah,
Such
so
a-
this
such a
turn
good
right here,
upgrade
this
on
is
the
the one that I forgot to regen with Anakin.
Oof.
So that's the one, because I was using Anakin to block,
That
and I just
comes into
forgot to
play
regen.
later, doesn't it?
Huh?
That comes into play later, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It
Ugh.
does. So yeah, that was one. And even right here, at some point, I throw my hands like, oops.
I think you forgot to regen on Obi a couple times too, right?
I don't know if it was forgot. Maybe it was like I didn't know where you were gonna be, and
Oh, that's another fair point.
yeah, because like right here, I thought this particular move, I got myself in a really good spot because this is right here. I should have regened with Anakin, and I put Obi in a position where I believe he was shooting you, and he was not getting shot by
Redline?
yeah, by Redline, because I remember I barrel rolled and yeah, and I don't think you ended up having a shot, but you did shoot with Sunter. But at that point,
Yeah.
Krennic is gone. But
Yeah, and you're also ahead on points at this point by 11. So that's good. That's the other good part about regen is you can regen above half the points I recovered. Luckily, I think I did enough to Obi-Wan that I perma-halved him.
Yeah.
Not yet, but at some point, yeah. And then so right here, with this list again, I want a knife fight. I want to fight up close. I want to stay, get it dirty. Even though these are supposed to be fast ships, even with Rick with advanced sensors and Daredevil, he just wants to be in the middle of things, and really just hopefully with triple regen, you're spreading your damage around. But how did I end up with 1 damage?
I think Sunkyo shot you that turn or
Yeah.
something.
And
yeah,
I think
which is why
he
you
shot me,
perma
and I
halved
blanked out or something, and you
Yeah,
got
that's
it
how I
in.
got you to perma half. If you regen your 2 shields, you're still at half. So
Yep.
that was secured points right there.
And Obi-Wan has a damage engine at this point as well.
Well, yeah, he's bleeding. He's got one hull, one regen left, and that.
It's a sad, sad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Duncan, Marcel's talking about the fact he likes to knife fight with his list, right? He likes to be in and making these tight maneuvers. Do you think that versus a list like that, it's advantageous to Soontir?
It's debatable. He still has all 3 ships on the board, all 3 blockers. He's got the ability to look at my dial, which is not fun for me. So I'd rather just kind of take pot shots out of range when I still have Krennic up on the board. I can take free shields, shooting range 3 through obstacles and such. But yeah, this is not the point I want to be in because I lost Krennic pretty quickly. I think there was a direct hit somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I still haven't got anything off the board. I think Redline is out of torpedoes as well.
No, you had regen.
I reloaded. Okay, so yeah,
reloaded one, so you still had one left.
Yeah. I have a torpedo. I can probably one-shot a ship with a lucky shot or get a good crit into it. But again, I'm just trying to create a favorable end game for Soontir here.
Yeah, so right here I regenerated my first because I forgot the last time. So.
And this right here, you're going through that debris.
Yeah, and this is where I use my second collision detector, and the mistake here was, for me, was actually just flying over that instead of just flying around it and boosting and saving the collision detector for a little bit later. But
yeah, it comes back in a situation where you wish you had it and it wasn't there.
My idea here was I wanted to keep, even if he wasn't shooting, I wanted to keep Anakin in position to threaten with the block. So I wanted to keep him around for that.
Yeah, and that's good. I don't disagree with you there, but the hindsight 2020 thing.
Yeah.
So I didn't disagree with any of your moves in the time.
I disagreed with my own moves at the end. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Not just because of how they ended, but in hindsight, when you can think about things, you're like, yeah, just thinking it over again. That's not what I should have done, kind of thing. Even if like the maneuver had fit, it's still not the right call.
So
right here, this is also another move that was not smart, because right here with Obi, I moved to the left and then repositioned to the right, and it really didn't make a whole lot of sense because I was regenerating anyway. So the right call would have been to just completely disengage and come around for, just take the longer way around. So. And again, just trying to knife fight, I kept my ships closer than they should have been at this point.
And I think the other thing is that you become really predictable in this position because right in front of that rock, there's no reason for you to hard turn to the right. Mm-hmm. But in your previous position, you still had hard turns and banks open. Now,
yep.
Passing it over to Duncan here, Red Line's is going to get shot up here a little bit. Sorry, no, you hadn't moved yet. I want to talk about this because this is going to end up mattering quite a bit. Red Line hard 2ing into the corner. You hear a lot of people say you should almost never try to get caught in a corner. Why'd you put Daddy in the corner?
What did I do here? I was trying to range out. Just try to get out of there. This is probably the maneuver in this game I don't agree with on my end. I think I put that down and I'm just like thinking about it in my head. I'm just like, oh, that was dumb. I don't want to be there. Why didn't I boost? I kind of just wanted the position without the stress. I don't agree with that one. once I put the template down, I was not happy with it.
That happens too often. That feeling of, why'd I do that? Like, as soon as you flip the dial, you're like, wait.
Yeah.
You ask yourself,
Well,
wow.
Because whoever was commentating here, like, drew like, oh, Duncan wants the 2 hard, and it's like, well, he's not going to be able to take an action. He wants a double modded torpedo,
Right.
which, was like, you can't have your cake and eat it too.
It's true. So Soontir, turning into the fray here, going to be set up on the flank. Should pretty easily arc dodge Anakin. And actually, looks like
Anakin is weapons disabled.
You're right. You're right.
So I'm not
even
getting
shoot.
any shots no matter what at this point.
So Duncan just looking for free money.
Yeah, I think I think here is where I wanted my cake and eating it too. I was like, can I cut this boost instead of the barrel roll back end boost to get bullseye on Rick? 'Cause I don't think I wanted Rick. I think I wanted Obi. I think I got him here. Because I have a target lock on him? Yeah, there's a target lock right there.
And the boost does fit. And the barrel roll there just opens up your dial a little bit for next turn.
Yeah, and I bullseyed a ship there as well. I got a little closer to Obi, got him a little more in arc, not sitting behind that debris, and I have bullseye. I don't have crack shot on Obi, I don't think. Well, we're about to find out.
You did, and that's what ended up
The crack shot got him.
making the difference again. Yeah, that maneuver that I made with Obi, knowing that I was disengaging, trying to get greedy and keep him close is really what did him in.
Yeah, so
At
the
this
target
point,
lock.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, because at this point, yeah, I evaded it. You cracked, and I actually didn't even need to crack. I don't think.
Let's see.
And there you go.
Yep. So Obi-Wan taking
That's
off
a
the
dead
board.
Obi.
That's now Duncan's up 77 to 50.
And now he can't look at my dial anymore, which gives me the advantage of buy 6 back.
All right. So here, and actually right here, I just kind of took advantage of Duncan's mistake, and it was a mistake, and he knows it. But Duncan gave me an opportunity here by that barrel roll,
Mm-hmm.
because it was really predictable. The one soft to the left, that kind of was super predictable at this point what it was going to be. I already had no torpedo here, had used it already, so I was just trying to get the range 1 shot to to threaten him with 3 dice, and yeah, with Rick, just get a free shot, knowing that he's not going to go speed 3, just get my 3 dice on him, and
Yeah, and
that.
at this point, like you had to press here because Redline had not taken any damage, completely full.
Yeah, what if I had done the one soft to the right, though? You wouldn't have seen that coming.
Extra good. It's like asteroids. You
Yeah.
come out on the other side. That's how it works, right?
Or a Pac-Man, right?
Yeah.
Was it Asteroids too?
Yeah. Both games.
God, those games are so forgiving. But also not.
yeah. So right here, I was actually also surprised with your choice, because I think you ended up going further back, I believe, with another barrel roll, right?
I think so. And then we had the second one bank.
Yeah.
One bank
so
heard
right
around the
here
world.
with that barrel roll, I was a little surprised because I actually thought you would just boost.
Yeah, I
Here.
think the boost kept me range 1 of Rick and got me out of, or didn't get me out of Anakin's arc. So I think that I just didn't like either of those options.
Okay. Yeah, because I thought you would, with the boost, you would have had the range 1 shot back at Anakin, and at least you're trading shots for shots. But again, it's not. You're taking less damage as well. Actually, no, you tried to barrel roll the opposite way.
Oh yeah, the def didn't fit, so I just ended up stressed for no reason. That's
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah. So
I just like barrel rolling.
so yeah. So that makes it so that you had to do a blue maneuver next turn, or because is the 3 bank red on the?
The 3 hard is wait. Yeah, I think the 3 hard's red. The 3 bank is not. It's white.
Mm-hmm.
I love the advanced sensors boost 3 bank. It gets you so far.
I think one of the discussions we had also is with the stress there. If you don't clear the stress, and let's say you do the 3 bank over, you have nowhere to go afterwards, and then you're getting eaten up by Rick and Anakin. But we'll get to see that here in a minute.
The greatest turn.
Okay.
So I think Anakin finally does some damage to Redline here.
This is Rick. He only did 2, which is average. And then Anakin, range 1, kind of throws a dud. And that, ideally with 7 dice, I was hoping to have him.
Mm-hmm.
But, and that way, if he's halved, then it's, it's a different game because at that point I'm just playing to not get killed for the last 13 minutes.
Right.
But yeah, it didn't work out that way, so I had to continue to press and try to get half on red line at this point. And here's the that's the move where you try to measure in your eye, in your head as well as you can, and it's such a close game as far as like.
I guess I still can't visualize Talon rolls. Like 3 Talons, not my thing.
Yeah, and I did push the template as far forward as possible on Anakin to get as forward as possible. And my idea here was if he banks 1 left, I'll get the block, and if he goes faster, 2 or 3, he's still stressed, and at that point I have just a free range 1 shot on his backside. That was the plan. Just get shots on him. And at this point, I think I only needed 1 more damage to get him to half, right?
9, 2.
1 or 2.
Need 2 more.
2 more damage, yeah. Yeah, because last round I only did 3 on him, yeah. And here's where I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to kill my own Rick on a suicide.
Well, one of the things that you go ahead and go to the other side of the table. The visualizations in-person X-Wing versus real X-Wing, right? Like that is a real skill that both of you I know have developed quite well, and it's something that I think all X-Wing players, once we're able to return back to the table, are going to have to really work to get their eyeball back.
Oh, me, 100%. I have not touched it since February.
I haven't.
I haven't played online, so I don't know what it's going to be like. It's going to be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, this Saturday will be the first the first table game I play since I don't know when, since everything closed up.
Yeah, when does everything close over there in Chicago?
March.
Oh, geez.
So, and I forgot how close it actually was. I think there was. I mean, it was maybe like a centimeter or 2 from the edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was real close.
And then here's the 1 bank that I was hoping to block, because at that point it would have been 4 dice against 0 with intimidation, and I mean that was a dream.
And you can see right there, anybody who's watching, you see that 1 bank template just barely going over the edge of the marker for Anakin.
Yeah,
and
we were
that matters
not
because
sure of what's going to be the nubs. We didn't know
exactly.
if the nubs would clip.
So
the nubs,
because the nubs, when it comes to movement, do count. That's on ships. Those are the only time the nubs actually do matter. Is during the movement there. They can cause you to bump, aka overlap. So we had a judge go ahead and perform this maneuver. Remember, your guys' game was the GSPN live game that we were watching the entire time. I had some fun with it. But yeah, absolutely great game. And the amount of tension here from you guys. Let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I mean, it's a tense game, and I think after this turn, I kind of. Well, you'll see how it plays out. Basically, how it plays out is, even though Anakin has a range 1 shot, I think he kind of blanks out again. And at this point, I'm trying to think like, okay, he's, yeah, this changes a lot. So at this point, I was still, before this turn, I was still feeling pretty good about my chances. And then after this turn, that's where I got a little bit, like, in my own head.
So
and you'll see that.
Sidebar here: the boost on a medium base gives you exactly 1 range distance.
Ah.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Am I thinking about that right? All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, I haven't played this game in a while.
So
yeah,
Duncan,
we got to range 2.
Did you know, like, when you did the 1 bank, did you know, like, in your heart, you're like, I absolutely am going to make that maneuver?
You have to believe. Anything's possible if you just believe.
Yeah. The other, again, in hindsight, just a regular 3-turn with a barrel roll to the left to guarantee the blocks on the 1 and the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Is another move, but then the problem there is I'm stuck facing the edge of the board and not able to do like a 3 hard. I would have to do like a barrel roll plus a 2 hard, and it just makes Anakin very predictable at that point. So that's why I didn't go with with just the regular 3 hard to get the block. I guess a 2 hard would have also gotten it, but again, hindsight 2020 is just in the moment you're, not thinking it.
Well, so Duncan has a range 3 shot from Soontir here, using that target lock. I think this is going against Anakin.
Yep. Maybe any safe. And half points right here would be 82 to 77. So that's basically what I was playing
5
for.
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that was the whole game right here. Is just trying to get up to this point with trying to get the block and then shoot in. And I was still hoping to do it with the force, but I ended up just rolling 1 and then still not half. I was still 1 point away from half.
Yeah, and one of the things that matters is, Duncan mentioned it, that boost on the medium base ship got you out of range 1, so you took away that 3rd die, that extra chance for Marcel to do that.
So this is the complete mistake. So I ended up putting myself on the board here, and what I was trying to do on the debris here, and what I was trying to do was just do a 2 and then barrel roll left again and catch Soontir on the turn in and catch Rick on Soontir, so I can get. I only needed 2 on Soontir, and I thought maybe I can get it, which was obviously a mistake here. The correct move would have been just to use Anakin to go 3 forward past red line and just park there with or focus boost. No, 3 forward and then boost, so I can get the range 1 on red line. But in my mind, where I was thinking is I was wondering if I go fast and red line wasn't stressed anymore, if red line just did a stop. So that's what I was worried about with that maneuver. Is if I shoot past them to try to get the block, and red line just decides to stop there, and then then we change position, and I'm playing from behind. And right there, I rolled a crit on Anakin, I believe.
I think that's next turn when you come off of it.
Oh yeah,
You rolled a hit right here.
gotcha.
Spoiler, sorry.
Oh, here
it's
you go.
fine.
Didn't have to wait for long. So this just barely clips.
Okay.
Just barely clips.
You
Yeah.
here.
barrel rolled off, but then clip the side.
Yep.
Yeah, Anakin had
And-
done his ability. Sorry, that got cut from the video.
Yeah.
And there it
Cut,
is.
yeah.
That's the half points. That locked the game right there. It was impossible to
Yeah,
win at
because
that point.
at that point, I needed to kill Redline, and really what I was hoping for here was I don't even know what I was hoping for, to be honest. At this point, I think I was already in my head from the last turn. So, that's one of those things that you just learn. Ideally, what I would have done here would have been disengage with Anakin completely, just boost to the left. Barrel roll to the left, fly left, and just stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Rick, not do that. Ideally, I would have not done that advanced sensors barrel roll and just done the 3
You
hard.
really like that debris, don't you?
Yeah, I think I hit it like 4 times. Because if I had not done that barrel roll, I would have ended up a little bit ahead of that, and I would have been jousting versus Redline at that point. And yeah, he could shoot a torpedo at me, but wouldn't really have, it would have given me an opportunity to win because I only needed 1 damage, and he would have needed to do 3, and I would have been with a focus and evade. So that was another move. But once Anakin got hurt, what I was thinking is, I knew that Sunter was going to go in hard after Anakin, and I thought, okay, with Anakin being so far down on points, the only way for me to do it is get lucky and do some kind of miracle crit shots on Sunter.
Yeah, and I think I take the evade boost here in case you do that,
Yeah.
because you moved faster than I did, so you get that
Yeah.
extra die.
And
but I do
the-
get the obstructed defense shot.
Yeah, and without without Anakin taking that damage, I just do my regular move, and I end up where Sunter's 1 hard left, and Sunter bumps into the back of me, and then I trade shots with Rick and Redline, and only need 1 damage to win, basically. But again, that rolling that crit on Anakin changed everything, and there you go, Anakin for
Soontir
for
puts
maximum disrespect.
yeah, Soontir puts him in the coffin there.
Yeah. And then right here, I take my range 1, 4 on
4 on 4, I think.
4 on 4, yeah, with an evade token. It's not going to happen. So yeah, so this game ended 137-50, and it just kind of shows
It's
that
It's not representative of how close the game actually was.
yeah, because the last turn, if Anakin doesn't roll a crit on himself, which means I use Rick's regular maneuver versus doing the barrel roll. At that point, it's just, can I get that extra damage on?
Yeah. Would Soontir have killed Anakin regardless? I don't know.
No, because without barrel rolling to the left, my regular hard 3 would have blocked Soonter's hard 1.
Oh, you're right.
So it would have just been a straight up joust between Redline and Rick at that point.
And you needed to kill Redline to get ahead right there?
No, I just needed
you needed
at this
to
point.
half him.
I just needed to do 1 damage on Redline to get ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, hitting that debris is what kind of guaranteed it for you.
Yeah, that debris saved my life. It sent me on to the quad Star Vipers. Another
Yeah,
story.
so
That's a
you
story
say
for
you
another
see
day.
that's karma. That's what we call karma.
Yeah. Oh, come on! Don't do me like that.
All right.
If you're Cobra Kai and I was Miyagi-Do, those quad vipers were, I don't even know.
That was the Russian guy from Rocky. I must break you.
Well, I want to take
Wait, I thought this was a karate tournament.
I want to take a second and thank both of you for coming on today in support of the Campaign Against Cancer Telethon. I really appreciate it. Remember, everybody who's watching at home, we've been talking about all the ways to donate. Type that exclamation point donate. Get the information. You've seen it on screen. You've heard Chad talk about it. Let's make sure that we're hitting those goals. You guys want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching at home?
Everybody donate. It's a good cause.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody donate if you have the means. And if you don't have the means to donate financially, there's plenty of things that you can do with just time and effort. I know I've organized in the past walkathons and things like that. Doesn't need any money. It just needs you to pick up the phone and get in touch with people and things like that. And as the great ambassador of medicine or whatever they call him at the Might Not Butterflies,
he's the emperor of medicine, right? Is that the title?
Yes, the emperor.
Yeah. Wear your bleeped out masks.
Yes, please.
Yeah, wear your masks.
All right, everybody.
When appropriate.
We're going to go ahead and send it back to the studio.
Hello everyone, this is Filippo Bosi from Italy. Today I'm here to share my CAC 2020 story, basically a cancer story that involved my family. You know, when dealing with topics like the big C word or cancer, it's pretty easy to, try to hide details or maybe refrain from saying something. Well, today, rather than just stating facts or going on the obvious, I'd like to talk about what this cancer story has left me. It has left me with an immense sense of proudness and an infinite bond with my mother. In brief, what happened is that in 2009, my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. This illness, this sickness was unprecedented in my family, at least as much as I can recall. So none of us was actually knowledgeable about it, didn't really know how to cope with it. It was only thanks to the strength of my mother and my family, especially my father, that the whole family managed to get through it. My mom went into recess, I think that's the word, in 2012. The worst seemed to have passed. Unfortunately, there were complications in the latter years, and basically cancer cells spread from her breast to her spine to her liver. Unfortunately, my mom Antonella passed away in 2016. Anyways, even if she I can say that she left me when I was 29, pretty young, I didn't really take it well initially. Also, I always felt like I let her down because I always felt that I didn't spend maybe enough time with her. I didn't really care much about what was going on in my family. I was living in another place, in another city, or maybe in another country at times, sometimes in another continent. Anyways, in the years I've realized that specifically Star Wars, yeah, I know it seems silly, but Star Wars has been part of the bond that I had with my mother, and I've tried to respect this bond as much as possible. My mom introduced me to Star Wars when I was a kid, maybe 8 years old. Early 90s, she gave me the entire trilogy in a VHS, and she placed me in front of the TV on the New Year's Eve. And that night I crunched all 3 movies, managing not to fall asleep on what we call now episode 6. After that, she played with me when I was a kid. She tried to talk me about Star Wars and its characters, as she was really fascinated by science fiction or science fantasy, call it however you like. We developed this kind of quick relationship over Star Wars, talking about the tabletop games, and then sometimes we managed to play X-Wing together, when I was preparing for competitive seasons, big tournaments or stuff. It's not easy to talk about these things, and I know it's not the most astonishing story about cancer, but in the years through X-Wing, thanks to events like CAC, I've managed to honor the memory of my mom, to honor my family, and to honor all the people affected by cancer. So, if you're seeing this video, if you are following the CAC, please consider making a donation that's gone towards a honorable charity. It's everything for today. Possibly you'll see me playing later, or you have already seen me playing and possibly losing because I'm really, really bad at X-Wing. And see you hopefully soon at the next event, be it Worlds, Euros, Grand Championships, A-Store Championships. See you soon, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you, Filippo, for sharing that story. Yeah, that's as we mentioned at the start of this broadcast, that this is something that's way too common. It's a story that too many of us have to share, and so we do want to enjoy this this event. We also want to stay on message. We want to talk about how we've been affected. We want to talk about how why do we become a part of this. We're giving away fun prizes, we're watching fun games, but ultimately we're here because we believe in what we're doing. So thank you for sharing that story, and hopefully, again, the whole point of this is to make it so that nobody has to share a story like that again. So it is time for new prize drawing. So we have 2 coins, a Plo Koon, and the second Tantive 4. So the coins will be going to Brandon Rao. One coin will go to Brandon. Second coin will go to Daniel Smith. Matt Stout has won a Plo Koon, and Andrew Barrett has won a Tantive 4. So again, just like before, we will move on to another prize range, and so now we will be giving away some Christopher Burdett art. So this is the second time we've been able to give away a small bundle like this. Chris has been an absolute wonderful supporter of the CAC. He gives us playmats and mouse pads and prints every year, all signed for just to help us out. He believes in what we're doing. So give $10 in the next hour. About an hour and a half. So give us $10 in that time frame, and you will be entered to win one of those prizes. Right now, we're going to take a look at an interview that we had. Chris stopped by to talk about his artwork, his journey as an artist, and how he got to work on Star Wars and some of the other stuff that he's done. So take a look, and this was recorded about a week ago. And including ones down in his home state of Florida. Christopher, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
So you have, like I said, been a regular supporter of the CAC ever since the beginning. This is our first time doing it in a telethon format because we've had to cancel our in-person events, which is sad, but welcome. Thanks for coming. Can you tell us, you've done a lot of artwork over the years, and we know you, especially in the X-Wing community, for your contributions to Fantasy Flight Games and the Star Wars art that you've created for us. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got started into artwork and what your path was like through education and your early career and getting to the point that you're at now?
Certainly. Well, it started when I was about 3 years old. My parents took me to this movie, and it was kind of different from anything that a lot of people hadn't seen. I think it was called Star Wars, and it was in 1974, 1977, and it changed everything. I mean, I was only 3, but it kind of, when I saw that movie, I said to myself, I don't know what this is, but I want to make it. And it's been kind of, that was been my career goal. And I got into Dungeons and Dragons as a kid and all this stuff. And it was all these monsters and creatures and aliens that just kind of were cooking in my brain. And I went to Florida State University to get my Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree. And while I was there, I was making monster suits and doing etchings and doing all these things, and a lot of pushback from the faculty that I wasn't making art. I was just making monsters. And I'm like, that's the point. And the summer of 99, which was, I graduated at the end of 99. So the summer of my last year in college, they were filming a low budget vampire movie in Tallahassee. And they put signs up around the art building looking for people who wanted to take part. So I grabbed one of the signs and started making phone calls. And within a couple of days, I was talking to a makeup effects artist in Los Angeles who was going to be coming out to work on the movie. And I kind of was like, I'm your guy. I'll be there 24/7. I want to do this. I want to work on this. I want to make movies. And he's like, oh, okay. So I spent that summer making vampire movie props and making severed heads and doing blood effects and doing all this crazy stuff. And I really got a taste for it. And when I graduated at the end of 99, I immediately moved out to Los Angeles and just jumped in, and we were working on low budget movies and all kinds of crazy TV shows and just a lot of stuff. And it was just, kind of trial by fire and just getting in and getting my hands dirty. And that lasted for about a year. And that's when the internet bubble popped in 2000 and things went crazy and everything shut down. I'm like, okay, I can't handle this. I'm out of here. Came back to Florida for a couple of years and worked in the science field, being an artist in the science industry. And I was making models of microscopes and doing all these graphics and all this stuff. And jump ahead, I get this call after about 2 years. It was my old boss from LA, and he's like, hey, we're working on this show called Buffy the Vampire Slayer and this show called Angel, and we're going to be starting to work on this show called Firefly. Do you want to come out and work on all these shows? And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So my wife and I moved back out to Los Angeles, and I worked on all of Joss Whedon's TV shows. We did a ton of movies. We did just all kinds of crazy stuff for a number of years, and that was really exciting, really fun. I built miniature houses that we burned down, and I got to be a zombie in a movie, and just all kinds of crazy stuff. And that's where I kind of cut my teeth as an artist, a professional artist working in the effects industry. And while I was out there in LA, I had a lot of opportunities to meet art directors and artists and other working professionals. And that's when I first interviewed with some art directors at Wizards of the Coast. And I was interested in their Star Wars products and Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering, and is kind of like opened the door to gaming. And right after we left LA, because we were kind of like, okay, we're done with LA again. I started working with Wizards of the Coast on a miniature game called Dreamblade, and I was designing all of the miniatures. And I just tons and tons of drawings, working constantly, doing tons of work, and that's kind of was my foot in the door to the gaming industry. And while I never got to work on Star Wars with Wizards of the Coast, while I started working for other companies like Paizo and then Fantasy Flight Games, and working with Fantasy Flight Games, it really opened the door to a lot of properties. I was working on Talisman and Warhammer and The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and eventually, when they got the license, they announced that they were working on Star Wars, and I immediately emailed my art director. I'm like, why am I not already involved? I need to work on this. And shortly thereafter, they commissioned more art, and I started working. And the very first piece that I worked on was the Wookiee Navigator for the card game that got reused for X-Wing as the Wookiee Gunner. And so that art never got much attention in the card game, but as the Wookiee Gunner in X-Wing, it got a lot of attention. It was used all the time. So yeah, and then it was just, bouncing back and forth with different gaming companies, doing just all sorts of monsters, crazy stuff. And that continues to today. I'm still working on things like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, but I've also begun working on my own projects and my own books and telling stories and doing things that I want to do.
So when you started working with FFG and working on the Star Wars IP, and being somebody who had wanted to do that from a very young child,
Yes.
how did that feel? I guess going into something that you had dreamed about since you were so small.
The first one's always the hardest and the most scary because it's you get to finally do something. Like my first Dungeons and Dragons piece, my first Magic card, my first Star Wars card. They were the hardest, and like the ones that I'm not happy with, and I wish I could do more. But after that, it was just exciting because they gave me the freedom to really start doing what I wanted to do. So I started making my own Star Wars stories and my own Star Wars world through the artwork I was making for them. So I was, if you take all of my cards and put them together, you'll actually see there's a narrative that I've put through most of my main cards that I did for the Star Wars card game. There's things in all of the cards that all connect with each other. And if I put them all down, I can show you this is the first one, this is what's happening, and then it goes to this one, and this is the next one, and then this happens, and then this happens. And that makes it exciting for me. And of course, I have a massive Star Wars toy collection, and I use all of the toys and play sets and ships as reference for all of my pieces. So if I do, if my painting with Salacious Crumb and Jabba the Hutt, I got out my Jabba the Hutt and my Salacious Crumb action figures and lit them and posed them and got the scene the way I wanted, and use that as reference for my painting.
That is very cool. Like I'm seriously, I want to go back and find all of the cards that you did artwork for and see what this story is. I absolutely, I love things that have sort of that hidden deeper level. And I didn't know this. In the times that I've talked to you, that's never come up. And I really want to know what this is now.
Yeah, I'm gonna
seriously.
It's gonna be one of those things. I've been meaning to do a blog post about it on my blog to just kind of be like, hey, this is the little story I was telling. It's not a major story, but it's just there's things that are taking place, and there's you can see the different. There's like the same spot keeps showing up, and there's the same names in Arabic are written on things, and it's like this everything's happening in this one place.
That fascinates me. Anyway, so do you know in your time with FFG and especially in X-Wing, do you have any idea about what count, how much of their artwork they ended up using in their stuff? Is there artwork you've done that we haven't seen yet? Is there, is it all out there?
Everything's been used and reused and reused and used again. So some of my pieces have, I think, been used like 4 or 5 or 6 times, and it's kind of interesting. There's a couple of pieces that have really just been in a lot of different products, and sometimes I don't know about them. I discover them years later. I'm like, oh, I was credited on this product, or I wonder what it is, and I get one, and I'm like, oh, it's that piece of art again.
So taking your career as a whole, from early on to now, could you look at a point and pick out what your favorite or your proudest moment in all that time would be?
That would be later this month when my books finally get through customs and arrive at my door. It's the Grand Bazaar of Ithra Vandalia. It's a story that I began working on in the summer, about the summer of 1998, when I was a printmaker. I started doodling this weird dragon character for an etching class, and we had to go through several different etching techniques with the same zinc plate that you use for etching. So I just kept working and reworking this character, and I gave it a name and I made this backstory. And I didn't realize at the time that I was building a world that I was going to be playing with for about 20 years before I finally did something with it. But I kept revisiting that character and building that world. And over the last 5 years, I've been really focused on getting it together and making my own thing and establishing my own world. And I've done a ton of artwork, and I've written a ton. It's over 250 pages. It's illustrated, and there's stories, intermingling stories. It's kind of like a monster manual, but it's also set up as a scrapbook, and it's set up as like notes and stories, and there's poetry and advertising from this world, and it's just all this stuff kind of put together. And you can read it in any order, but there is definitely a narrative from the beginning to the end. And the first book is done. It was successfully funded on Kickstarter earlier this year, right as the pandemic was starting, which is, you know, if you're going to run a Kickstarter, definitely run it during a pandemic. But since I had everything done, I wanted to have everything completely done before I went into the Kickstarter process. So we immediately went to publication. My publisher was ready to go, and everything's been made, and it's on a boat sitting at the port of New York, and we're waiting for it to get through customs, and then it'll be here. And that's what I've kind of been working towards for the last 22 years, basically. Yeah, it's just kind of like I did all this other stuff in between, but this is where I've kind of been aiming for and wanted to be.
To circle back just a little bit, going back to the Star Wars moments, being a fan, like you said, you've got an amazing toy collection. Yeah. You've done this artwork. You've been to all these conventions. In all that time, can you pick out a moment that you would say would be your favorite Star Wars related moment?
That would have been last February of 2019. I got to meet Alan Harris, who plays Bosk in Empire Strikes Back, and Bosk is my favorite character. I love reptiles and reptile monsters, and Bosk is a crazy space lizard that's a bounty hunter. And you know, you saw him for like 2 seconds in Empire, but and that was enough to just, you know, give my imagination room to roam. And over the years, they've built up a backstory, and then, you know, you see him in the Clone Wars, and, you know, they've really kind of fleshed out the character, and they've given him a lot to be famous for. And I really, really like the character, and I like the look of the character. And I was able to meet the actor that was in the suit and tell him that it was his portrayal of this crazy lizard monster back in, you know, 1980 that kind of was like really sparked something in me, and kind of like, you know, sent me on my journey of being an artist drawing space lizards. Because and he was a charming man to meet. He was just amazing, and he was kind enough to humor me and to give me some time to, like, you know, kind of gush and be a fan. And it was just really nice. And it was just one of those things that he's since passed, and it was kind of like, that was like a moment that I had to be right then and right there to have that interaction with him. And, you know, now it's impossible to have. So that was the moment that kind of it all came together. It was like my Star Wars moment.
That is awesome. I was so sad that at Celebration in Chicago last year, I didn't take the opportunity to go meet Peter. And that was one of his last appearances, if not his last appearance. So I understand that, you know, taking that moment and getting to meet somebody that was really influential. And no, that's awesome. That's great. I'm sorry you can't do it again. That's we lose more all the time, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your current project, and is that what you're going to be focused on for your foreseeable future? Do you have more things coming along in the pipeline? Can you tell us a bit more about the Bazaar?
Yeah, I mean, primarily I'm going to be focusing on my own world, on the books from the Grand Bazaar moving forward. I'm still doing stuff for projects like Dungeons and Dragons. I just finished a project for them, and I'm getting ready to start another. And I will probably continue to do Magic the Gathering work as long as they want to hire me. But other than that, I'm kind of stepped away from the gaming industry unless some really exciting project comes along. But I'm now focused on kind of creating the rest of the books that tell the story of the Grand Bazaar. And I've already started working on the next 2 books. The odd number books in the series will be a continuing story, and the even numbers are going to be smaller, standalone, kind of like self-contained stories that are set up the same way, but they're going to kind of be their own little world that kind of just gives you a little snippet, a little slice of life of the world I've created. And and it's, I don't know, it's kind of like it's there's a lot of metaphor in the book and a lot of my own thoughts and ideas of our own world, and kind of like me taking everything that I've experienced and how I see the world and kind of put it through monsters, and it's in my own planet. And that's how that works. I mean, that's where I think some of the best science fiction and fantasy come from. It's distilling the real world and the real events of humans and processing it through monsters.
So if somebody missed this on your Kickstarter, is it something they could get through your website?
Yes. Currently, I'm not super eager to ship a lot of stuff with everything that's going on. I should have been debuting the book at Gen Con in a couple of weeks, where I was going to have this big presentation and have a big event, because I was a featured artist at Gen Con this year. So I was going to be a featured artist. I was going to have a big spot. I was going to set up my booth as the Grand Bazaar, and it was going to be a big thing, but that's going to have to wait. So hopefully next year, hopefully 2021, hopefully we're all safe by then. If not, 2022, and if not, 2023. But I'm working on trying to get set up so I can do a lot of shipping from my house, so I don't have to go to the post office. So that's the next thing that I'm working on. So once the books are here, and once we've dealt with finding places to put 700 books, we're gonna make an effort to start making them available. But yeah, they're going to be available if not sooner, eventually. It's kind of one of these things. It's the pandemic's kind of put a hitch in a lot of plans, and a lot of people are finding workarounds. Like right now, what we're doing, we're finding a way to make it work. So yeah, just going to my website, going to my blog, especially, there'll be links all the time, forever and ever, pointing to where you can get the book. And you can actually pre-order if you go to the original Kickstarter page, and all the links are on my blog and my website. You can actually pre-order the book currently still, and you get a copy that way through my publisher.
And that website is ChristopherBurdett.com?
Yes, and ChristopherBurdett.blogspot.com. Yeah, my blog always has the newest and the latest of what's going on, and my website just kind of has galleries of my art, but there's links there as well.
So with Gen Con, you mentioned that you were a featured artist this year. With them going to an online format, will you be participating in that at all?
I'm going to have my store available and my website, but with everything going on, I don't know how active I'm going to be. And as a featured artist, that's just getting rolled over to the next time there's an in-person Gen Con. So it's kind of like we're just waiting to do. But I've set up there's a whole process for the online Gen Con, and I've done the first steps. So I just have to, when the next phase rolls out, now we have to put everything up and do all this stuff. It's going to be there, but I don't know how active I'm going to be during that time. It's just I've gotten off of a massive deadline, and I'm ready for a break.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So before we close this out, I do want to say again, thank you so much, not only for your support over the years, but even this year, you sent us quite a generous package of prints of mouse pads and game pads that we had initially planned on spreading those out, but now that we've moved to a telethon format, we're giving away Christopher Burdett art packages.
Oh,
So,
nice.
a mouse pad, a game mat, some prints, so that people can win a Chris Burdett package. So again, thank you so much for the generous support. And,
Oh, you're very welcome. It's my pleasure to be a part of this and to be able to contribute in some way.
well, we really appreciate it. We couldn't do it without people like you and the others that give us some fantastic prizes to give away. And it really, really helps us to engage people, bring them in, and get some money raised for these fantastic charities that we support, like St. Jude and Telethon. So thank you again. I really, really hope you stay safe. And I'm really bummed that I can't see you in the next few weeks at Gen Con, but hopefully our
Next
time
year.
to get together will come soon.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you very much. Stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Tell me about your picture.
It's sunny and the clouds are moving in and it's about to rain really, really hard.
It's the ocean. There's me, Papa, and Grandma.
What are you doing at the beach?
Swimming.
Are you afraid to get in the water?
Sometimes. It's safer in the pool.
Who are these people?
Me and my brother. He cries a lot
Why does he cry?
because we don't pay him attention. Babysitter. Porque como tú puedes descansar y los niños solo juegan. I want to be a teacher or a lawyer. And I want to be a lawyer because I like to boss the people.
I want to be a meteorologist. The wind has reached up to 100 miles per hour. It is getting hard for me to stand out here.
Can you tell me what the most boring job in the world is?
Oh, yeah. A mailman.
I'm guessing you don't want to be a mailman.
No, I do not want to be a mailman. Lasers? Freezing your head off.
Speed, really fast speed.
Making lightning is my superpower. I have evil eyes, you see. They're evil eyes because they're green.
Evil eyes or green eyes?
Some more.
What color are your eyes?
Green.
Well, one wish, meet Steph Curry.
Being a mermaid.
Second wish is to be on the Weather Channel.
1,000 animals.
And third wish is to go to Disney World.
Maybe baby pigs, some labradoodles, a pet monkey. Yee.
When I first saw you, you didn't have any hair. Why is that?
Because I had cancer.
Do you remember when you didn't have any hair? What did it feel like?
Me sentí bonita, porque mi mamá me siempre me cambia bonita. I thought when you're a bald head, your hair never grows back. But look here, it's all the way to my, what do you call this?
Shoulder?
I made you say it.
Can you tell me what it's like to be at St. Jude?
Being at St. Jude means the world to me.
You can make friends.
People here at St. Jude, it's like y'all a family. It's fun being here, and I love it here.
Personnes sont très gentils de donner de l'argent pour aider à St. Jude.
If you had millions of dollars, what would you do with it?
I would donate it here at St. Jude to help the kids at St. Jude.
Ready to smell my stinky feet.
I have absolutely no idea who those kids are, but I love them, and I am so happy to be doing this to benefit kids like that. Speaking of that, I talk about staying on mission. I talk about what we're here to do. We're here to benefit the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital as well as the Telethon Kids Institute. On behalf of St. Jude, we have with us today Abby Moore. Abby, how are you today?
Hi, Chad. I'm great. How are you?
Doing all right. How are you? What's going on? You're up early to come talk to us.
Yes.
So thank you for doing that on a Saturday.
Of course. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you guys, even allowing me to come share some wonderful St. Jude information. And I appreciate all of you dedicating your 24 hours to doing this to benefit the kids of St. Jude.
Oh, absolutely. So can you tell me what you do for St. Jude?
Yeah, so I actually work for ALSAC, which is the fundraising and awareness organization for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So what we do at ALSAC, we're really two separate entities, but we work towards the same thing. So ALSAC helps provide the fundraising and awareness for the hospital to make sure that the hospital can still function by raising money and, like I said, awareness to get the word out about the hospital. So what I do is I work in the state of Indiana. We have regional offices all across the country, but I'm stationed in Indiana, and we really work with any partners or supporters in Indiana to help raise money for the hospital.
So one of the things that I like about St. Jude is that even if we're raising money for St. Jude, it's not only benefiting St. Jude. You work with other organizations. You work with you share your research around the world. What's the St. Jude philosophy on things like that?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said, Chad, that we kind of help everybody. So St. Jude doesn't just do one thing, and really St. Jude is three separate entities. So it's a child's hospital, it's a children's hospital first, it's a charity, and it's a research institution. So I know a lot of places can't say that they're have those three entities that they're made up of. So just first, as a charity, we make sure that families don't ever receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because we believe that a family should only have to worry about helping their child live. Secondly, as a hospital, that